So, you say that tomorrow you will go to play with the Emperor's family? Yeah. Ayla nodded shyly at Laura's question. He had called her to tell her about the outing. She was sure that this news would reach Byron's ears. She thought it would be better to tell him herself. Wouldn't Byron feel at ease if Laura proved that she was still a valid source? By releasing these baits one by one, you could force him into your trap. Why are you telling me this now? It's tomorrow, Laura responded with a sharp voice. It was what he had heard when he called someone who had been left out and told them the news. I'm sorry, I just found out. When Ayla apologized with a displeased expression, Laura sighed helplessly. Anyway, behave yourself tomorrow so as not to raise unnecessary suspicions. Have you spoken to the Duke and Duchess about me? Laura gave him some advice and then changed the subject. Your story? What story? I ask that you reinstate me as your personal maid. Are you sure you haven't done it before? He looked at Ayla with all his strength in his eyes. Ayla barely let Laura stay in the mansion after she was almost kicked out for causing an accident, but she kept talking like that, still out of her mind. Ayla wanted to scoff and ask him why he had to do that, but she stopped herself and put on a pitiful face. I guess it's because the damage you've caused is so great that you're both very angry. Just mentioning your name turns them off, so it's a little awkward to talk. At his words, Laura's face flushed with shame and anger. She was angry because Ayla had pointed out her mistake, but she couldn't be angry because she hadn't made a mistake. You'll try, right? I can't go on like this. Look at my hands. They are all swollen. Laura brought her hand, increasingly rough, to Ayla's eyes and cried. You are telling me all these regrettable things. I guess it must be hard. Ayla nodded grimly, trying to contain her slightly amused laughter. Yes. I'll try. Of course she hadn't meant to, but Laura sighed, a little relieved by Ayla's words. If you have nothing else to say, how about we go now? The Duchess will arrive soon. Yeah? No, I've already said everything I wanted to say. Leave. Laura shivered, her face embarrassed at the mention of Ophelia. She pretended not to notice, but she seemed quite scared. It was understandable, since the normally kind lady adopted a cold expression every time she saw Laura. He also said that he wanted Laura to come back soon, but it was no lie that her mother would come. He had arranged to meet her to choose the clothes they would wear together tomorrow. Roderick questioned why it was necessary to choose comfortable clothes, but Ayla didn't believe it. Even if he was wearing the same comfortable clothes, he wanted something that fit him, even just a little. He wanted to show Winfred, whom he hadn't seen in a while, that he was happy and doing well. I told you we met this time because Winfred was worried about me after finding out about my curse. I need to calm him down. In reality, Winfred was older than her physically, but wasn't Ayla spiritually? It was shameful and unfortunate to have worried a younger friend. So I had to quickly show him that I lived a good life, with a lot of love and no problems. As Ayla made that promise, the time for her date with Ophelia approached. He greeted his mother with a radiant smile. Welcome, Mother. Have you been waiting long, Ayla? Let's choose clothes. As soon as she entered the room, Ophelia eagerly grabbed her daughter's hand and spoke. She seemed even more combative than Ayla when choosing her daughter's clothes. Thinking that it was the first time in a long time that her daughter met the boy she liked, Ophelia subconsciously became passionate. It should be appropriate for the season, the occasion and the place, and at the same time look pretty. If it looks over the top, you're out. But it shouldn't look sloppy either, so it should look like you put in some effort, Ophelia said in a serious voice. Ah, I see. By the way, where are we going tomorrow? As Mother said, I'm trying to choose clothes that suit the place and the situation, but I don't know exactly. Ayla, feeling a little uncomfortable because her mother seemed more enthusiastic than her, asked hesitantly. I had only heard that it was a suburb of Venator, but since I didn't know exactly what kind of place it was, I had no idea what to wear. I planned to go to the royal forest. The lake in the vast garden was really beautiful. Although I haven't been there in more than 10 years. I vividly remember riding horses with your father and strolling along the lakeshore at sunset. Ophelia seemed to be dreaming, lost in her memories. Wow. I want to ride a horse there too. Then I'll have to put on riding clothes. Ayla responded happily to her mother's words. Since she started taking riding lessons, she had acquired several sets of clothes, so it seemed like she could wear only her favorite. Our daughter is very pretty in her riding dress. Ophelia pursed her lower lip and looked at the hanging clothes, as if she was embarrassed to only wear riding clothes. Ayla certainly looked great in riding clothes. With her long, muscular legs and perfectly toned body, the tight pants accentuated her healthy beauty. But if I put you in just riding clothes, it looks a little fake, like you don't have any touch. Ophelia rubbed her chin thoughtfully. But wouldn't it be a pain to change clothes in the middle of an excursion? Yes, let's do it like this. After a moment of thought, he nodded with a solemn expression, as if he had found the answer. A good idea had just occurred to him. What will I say when I meet Ayla? In the carriage, on the way to meet him, Winfred wiped the sweat from her hands with the hem of her shirt and thought. He imagined countless times the moment of meeting Ayla again. Should I greet her warmly or just smile, silently extend my hand and walk her away? But now he couldn't even speak affectionately to her or pretend to know her. This was because he and Ayla had not officially met yet. Luckily, the curse on her body had been lifted, but without knowing where Byron's spy was hiding, she couldn't make that mistake and interfere with Ayla's work. I can't help you, but... Winfred let out a deep sigh. No matter how much he thought about it, he felt like there was no way to help Ayla, and it was frustrating. Even if that wasn't the case, he was very worried about how to talk to Ayla at that moment. He wanted to apologize to her for his uncle's grave sins, but hadn't he already done so when they met by chance in the Inselkov kingdom? And Ayla told him that it wasn't his fault and that he had nothing to be sorry for. Besides, I'm that girl's only friend. Winfred's face flushed red as the words unique and unrepeatable echoed. He felt that they had become incredibly special. Of course I didn't want to continue being just friends with Ayla. And her father, Hiram, sitting opposite Winfred, watched the scene with great interest. After being exhausted for a few days by Ayla's curse story, he seemed to have completely regained his energy by performing a solo monologue like before. As he watched his son's emotional changes, the carriage reached its destination. Winfred came down with a beating heart. The place itself was nothing special. It was a place he used to visit with his father on vacation to hunt and ride horses. But today was different. He would see Ayla soon. It seems that the Duke's family has not arrived yet. I guess we'll have to wait a bit, Hiram said with a mischievous expression. He was looking forward to this meeting and wondering what to do with the disappointment. But, contrary to her father's expectations that Winfred would be disappointed, she shrugged as if nothing had happened. He had waited so long to meet her, but waiting a little bit meant nothing to him. I guess he'll be here soon. Hiram, not very happy with his son's reaction, sat in the rocking chair hanging from the big tree with his face somewhat withered. He's only fun when he shines brightly, but what's the fun in playing with him if he's so distant? While Hiram, a little sad for no reason, let himself sink listlessly in the rocking chair, Winfred paced anxiously, waiting for Ayla. Finally, the sound of a horse's hooves was heard in the distance, at the entrance to the forest. The Duke of Weishaffen's family had arrived.